Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wild Steampunk Podcast. I'm Jonathan Festmeyer. I'm a steampunk author and aficionado fan, as well. Really happy to be part of this community. Lots of wonderful, creative people in it. So, um, I figure this will be somewhat of a kind of casual episode. I've got a lot of cool things to share. Keep having to. These glasses are bifocals, so it's a little. Need to look through the reading side to see things clearly. Anyway, this is my son Clark. We both like steampunk stuff. Clark, why don't you get the girl on the shelf there? Just down. We'll share this. So this steampunk girl is, I believe she's called Lexi, and I got her on sale at our Fat Collectibles, which is our local comic book and collectibles store. And they were supposed to. It's a long story. They were supposed to be moving. Uh, their lease was ending on the place they were in. They're supposed to be moving. So they had everything on sale, and I believe I got her for 50% off. So of course I jumped on that. So it's just gear base, cool, uh, revolver type pistol. Another cool pistol in the back. So yeah. Okay, Clark, can you put her back up? Put her here for now. Um, anyway, so that's one thing that's new since last time. Um, on the side here, you'll notice the pictures on the side are a bunch of pictures from cosplay patterns, McCall cosplay patterns since last time. So cosplay by McCall's does a lot of really cool um, patterns for all sorts of cosplay. I feel like I'm stating the obvious just because of what it's called, but they do a lot of amazing work, and I review patterns from them. They send them to me to review. These are the next two I'm going to be covering. So those you can look through those reviews in about the next week on my website. And I'll trim my beard a bit. So yeah, so there's a bunch there. Yeah, we're on the main screen of the new podcast. Oh, this is episode 10. I need to change that here. Bear with me a bit. I am getting back into the hang of doing this at all. So, one more question. Why haven't I been doing the podcast for a while? Why was episode 9 so far back? I'm not even sure how far back I did it. I have been waiting to get the money to get a new computer. I'm using XSplit Broadcaster, which I really like as a software package. It allows me to just make the videos and upload them without having to do too much or even any editing. But the problem is it wasn't running well on my old computer. My previous computer, the processor was just too old. At this point, it's a 4 years, 7 or 8 month old computer. We've got Linux on it right now. My son's using it a lot. So it's still working great. It's a really good lasting system. Clark, please turn the lights on. We need more lights than just this one. This one's thanks, honey. Yeah, we're running Linux Mint on it. I did systems administration many years ago, so I'm a fan of Linux. Turn on the lights there. Okay. Anyhow, I've added to the bookshelf since last time, so I think they look pretty nice. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah. So let's see. What should I go into next? So yes, I have a new computer. It's great. I'm very happy that it's running XSplit well. I got it a little over a week ago. It's everything is in the monitor. There's no my son wants to show. Okay, that's the kind of computer I got. So yeah, here you go. So obviously the processor is doing much better. It's having no problem recording this. It's not complaining at me. And yeah, so you know what? Let's look at my website because I've added a bunch there. since I believe I have that over here. And the way this is, I have to lower this so you can just see the web page. Okay, so when you go, my website is johnfesmeyer.com, JONFESMIRE.com. And when you go to it after about 45 seconds, this will pop up. And I would, if you get that, please give me your email address. You'll get, I don't, I'm very professional about it. I'm not going to sell your email to anybody else. And you'll get a short story called The Obstructed Engine, which is a prequel to my upcoming novel, Bodacious, a Steampunk Zombie Western. Now, that novel I'm halfway through the last draft of, so I plan in the next couple of months to have the book finally out. I've been working on it a long time. I'm working hard on making sure that this really, really reads nice, smoothly, that everything is, the plot is completely consistent. That's one thing that happens with authors is, we have all these big stories in our heads and we understand a lot, but we're not maybe sure if we've already explained something or not, or you'll have a character do some little thing and forget about it, but it might be important later, and you need to work that in. So I'm making sure that I'm catching all those little things on this final big edit. And after that, I'm going to read through it a couple of times, and then that should do it. So anyway, so you would do that. Hit subscribe, enter site. You don't have to. You can still obviously see the podcast and check out my site without subscribing, but you get really cool extras. And there are going to be more. Once I finish the novel, actually, I plan to write more short stories before I start to write the sequel. More short stories set in the same steampunk zombie western world. And you'll be able to, and my subscribers will get those all for free. So if you go over, the book, I mentioned Bodacious Creed. So you might be wondering what that is. So there's the cover of my upcoming novel. I'm really excited about that. It's by the artist by an artist named Joshua Stewart. He's really cool guy. I actually worked with him starting in 2010 when I first got the idea for this book, and that's a long story too, the way it started out and everything. It actually started out as a graduate level art project, and then turned into this whole world and novel. So let's go to the blog, because that's where I post quite a lot. I'm so happy how fast this computer's working. So as you can see, I've been doing quite a bit here since I actually used to post a lot more often. I'm posting kind of as much as I can. So we'll go back to, let's start from about here, and I'll just kind of go through and show you what's on the blog. If you want to go directly to it, it's johnfesmeyer.com/blog. So we have, as you can see, I do these cosplay pattern reviews, as mentioned. And so there are usually 2 per post, because that's approximately how many new ones come out a month. I think occasionally there are 3. I've been doing it for we're doing them for a year or so. Here's one of my book reviews. If you're a writer, and I do plan to do more writing tips on this channel, but if you're a writer and you're sort of already at a like journeyman to master level, and you want to get better, because we can always improve, I highly recommend Rain Hall's books. She has this whole Writer's Craft series, and they cover all sorts of aspects of writing. So this one, Writing Vivid Settings, was excellent. I mean, and they're really specific tips too, and instructions that you can find very, very helpful. So, okay, I did an Amazon card giveaway in September. There was a new Virtual Fantasy Con on October 9th. That is a convention that takes place all on online on Facebook. And generally there are a lot of authors and artists participating. Readers can win things like free books. There are challenges. You can ask questions of your favorite writers on their specific threads. It's like they set up sort of a forum each day. So that's fun. In at the 2015 one, I got to participate in panels and such. I really enjoyed that. I wasn't able to do that this year, but perhaps next year. The Log Hop Hunt was part of the Virtual Fantasy Con. Okay, so here's another uh, of my um, McCall's cosplay pattern reviews. If you're wondering what BNS stands for, it's Bodacious and Sundry. It just was getting too long on the title, so I shortened it. And certain things will fall under, Bodacious and Sundry. Usually it's if I just have a bunch to share of various things, but I have been doing the cosplay patterns under that. Um, I might change that. I might make it to where it's just cosplaying your own reviews or something. Okay, this was when I had gotten the second draft of Bodacious Creed done, and now I'm almost through with the final draft. Let's see. More cosplay. Um, Steve DeWinter is an awesome guy. He actually interviewed me for once on YouTube. We talked for nearly an hour, I think. And I wanted to interview him as well. He writes all sorts of speculative fiction, but that does include steampunk. So he's got a Steampunk Oz series. I'm a big fan of L. Frank Baum's Oz books. I read them to my daughter when she was a kid, and they're they're really good. They're different. They're really fun, um, and I like it when someone does something new with them that's also good. I've seen bad Oz adaptations and good ones, and hey, he's written some really good steampunk adaptations of them. So here's some more cosplay patterns. The main page. Yeah. All right. So one of the new things I've got. Oh, and I did a novel giveaway as well. I actually did a contest to give away a hardcover copy of Bodacious Creed when it comes out. So the winner is going to get that as soon as it does. And she also got copies of two of my fantasy novels. Uh, she's already reviewed one, gave it a really good review, so that was nice. Not 4-star, not 5-star, but she liked it. She really liked this kind of surprises that take place. Oh, that's interesting. Euphonics for Writers is another really good book I read and reviewed by Rain Hall. I'll probably talk about that in a writer tip video too. This book is really it's about how to use different sounds and language, just consonants and vowels to evoke certain emotions or feelings about a setting or whatever in your writing. And I think it's really advanced level stuff. It's the kind of thing that beginners might overuse or not quite use right, or more likely to kind of overuse, but more advanced writers should be able to incorporate it in a way that doesn't feel overwrought. So I've been trying to use a little bit of that in my rewrite of Bodacious Creed. All right, I really like this pattern here. So there's another pattern review, but yeah, it's kind of a sprite ballerina pattern. Anyway, you can check that out if you like. On March 17th, I started doing these weekly steampunk updates where I just find really cool steampunk stories that new ones, mostly as much as I can find. So this is kind of fun. So I'll show some of these. These are a little bit more recent. So in this one, we start off with I actually did a video for it, which maybe I'll just remove because that was on the old computer, and it came out the black and white. Actually, that's on purpose, but it came out like how do I describe it? It was as if I just had still pictures of myself that I changed every once in a while. That's how slow the video recording was going. I got the audio fine, but that's why I really needed a new system. Um, so this is pretty cool. Retro's tea dunking machine. Um, it's one of those things that Alton Brown from the Food Network would call a monotasker. I think he calls them. And he prefers to get tools that do more than one thing. But I don't know. I think that's some of the fun of making and doing steampunk things, of doing things, making things that have only one task. Um, just for the sake of doing them. Um, so this steampunk style thing just rolls and dumps your tea bag for you. This is about a museum in uh, England that had a steampunk makeover, and the Steampunk Spectacular is the UK Steam Museum in Swindon. And I found this great artist, Brian Kessinger, who uh, does art, or at least used to do art for Disney, and he's got all these wonderful steampunk illustrations. And then I always like to update people on my books, so I updated on how the Bodacious creed is done. So that's basically the kind of thing you'll see in one of those updates. Um, and I've got, let's see, so there have been 4 more since then. The last one I did yesterday. Um, these patterns are great. So I'll show you one of the latest McCall's pattern. This review I did on the 19th. And both of these I think would be one thing. I mean, not all of the patterns they do are specifically steampunk. Obviously, they do some that are, or that really fit it well, and they do some that are just from all sorts of other genres. But since I'm a steampunk author and I like to, that's my kind of chosen genre, at least at this time and for a while, um, I like to take these review the patterns and also suggest ways to give it sort of a steampunk edge. So this Wayfarers, I love this sort of seafaring pirate lady costume. I think it's beautiful. Um, and so what does it cover? So anyway, what I talk about is what it covers. It covers the breeches and the coat, undercoat part here, whatever it's called. And I talk about some of the tips in the pattern and what you get with it. So yes, these are patterns. These are not actual full outfits. You need to make them yourself if you can sew. So I talk about that, and then this and give some kind of ideas I came up with to give it a more steampunk flair. Same with this one, this kind of vampire one called Thirst, which has the vest and the shirt. And you can see some of the variations the gentleman is wearing here. Okay, and then I mentioned here that I got my new computer, talk about the book a little bit more, and talk about my Patreon, which, you know what? I may as well mention it. So yes, I have a Patreon. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to make a living as a writer and as a, video broadcaster and blogger. I do try to bring people a lot of great information and entertainment, and Patreon's wonderful because it allows you to the public to patronize people whose creations they enjoy. Um, I think that's really important. I think it's important to keep our society creative, to encourage our creatives to do more. I mean, we've got this in the United States, at least. The government over the years has cut funding to arts programs in schools and whatnot so much. And I think it is one way or another it needs to be encouraged, and this is one way to do that. So, if you would be kind enough, if you enjoy what I do and you want to send me a small bit of money every month, to say, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I'm willing to give you this much to keep doing it, and I'll keep enjoying it. That would be great. Just, a buck or more. All you have to do is a buck. I mean, you don't have to, but if you do, I would very much appreciate it. I'm trying to come up with some ways to award my patrons. And what I will probably do when I have time to get it set up, which I'll work on this, is have it to where at various levels, you get different things. That's how it always works, but where you can access them right on Patreon. So I might have some certain artworks that you can check out at a certain level, or maybe the stories that go to the newsletter will be available to my patrons first for at a certain level for like a week, and then we go into the newsletter or something like that. So because unfortunately I can't create infinite things for everything. I wish I could. Uh, sometimes I wish I had like a little room outside of time that I could go into, work on all my creative stuff, and and when I'm in there, I can create and have fun and make things for do blogs and work on my stories and books. And while I'm in there, I don't age, and so I have like extra time. Maybe I'm allotted like a certain amount of time a day that I can do this. Um, that would be impossible, but that's the kind of thing that my mind comes up with, just wishing that I could do more. But if I get enough patrons eventually, then I'm able to just do this full time. So kind of hoping that between the blog and the books and the YouTube channel, eventually I'll get there. So if you want to help, that's how you can do it. Patreon link will be below. Okay, so back to to the blog here. Like I said, I did another. So this was okay. Weekly Steampunk update. In this update, I actually covered quite a few things. I really looked around and found I think 6 things I covered. Sometimes it's 3 and 4, and I wanted to do more on this one, and that's in part because I actually do want to expand a little bit, really have more to really look at in these weekly Steampunk updates. But between getting the new computer and being just generally busy with my day job and being a dad, my son had 2 weeks off of school for spring break, or spring vacation for him. It's not spring break yet. I kind of delayed on writing this update, so this update's actually about 2 weeks late. But I'm still calling it a weekly update. But I do plan to keep them up, change that. So here I talk about, let's just go over these real quick. Tales of a Broken Reality is a show on YouTube. Okay, I have to figure out why it keeps popping this up. As far as I know, it shouldn't be doing that on every page. So, but anyway. So Tales of a Broken Reality. Yeah, it's a YouTube web series, steampunk web series, so I thought I'd feature it, especially because in this particular episode that is linked here, my friend Bonesart is on that. I forget exactly what country he lives in. He lives over in Europe, and he's an awesome guy. I've been on his show Radio Retro Future a couple of times. And anyway, yeah, so I wanted to share that, and you can give that a look. This game, Gratis, is coming out soon on May 25th. So this is a game on Steam that is going to have, it's as it says here, a medieval steampunk tactics game, which to me sounds awesome. I love medieval stuff. Obviously, I love steampunk. I love a good strategy game. So that looks like a pretty fun game, and it's by a company out of Sweden. Links here again if you want to learn more about it. There's also another game I found a link to called Victor, which looks fun. It kind of reminds me of like Richard Scarry's books, where he's got all these interesting cartoon characters, the lowly worm and whatnot, all these anthropomorphic animals. Only this is in a kind of a steampunk world. The configuration of the world is a little bit different, so the country is a little different. Um, and it's about a anthropomorphic pig who goes around and meets different famous people. Only, of course, they're also anthropomorphic animals, and has all these puzzle challenges and whatnot. So, and it's a major steampunk scene. Well, here's Dagon under Wild West Steam Fest. This automaton is so cool. I wish I could have seen him this year. I wish I could have gone to Wild West Steam Fest this year. We just didn't quite have the funds. That took place last weekend. Um, I did go in 2016, and it was amazing. It was wonderful. My son and I dressed in our steampunk vests and in sort of our Wild West steampunk look. And this really is a Wild West steampunk theme there. So it's really got that. And most of the people who go dress up. They have uh, all sorts of vendors. Last year I got some great goggles and a book, a Wild West novel, and some other things. So, yeah, the bands that played were actually the same ones last year. And as far as I'm concerned, if they have just these two bands every year, it would be amazing. So that's Deus Ex Vapore Machina. The people in that band are really cool people. I like them very much. I'm friends with probably all of them, most of them, since I got to meet them last year. Um, and they play uh, violin, cello, whatnot. So, but with kind of a real steampunk edge to it. Um, and they do several concerts during the day, short concerts, and then in the evening, Steam Powered Giraffe played. The year I went, and this current year, I wish I had gotten to go this year because they have a new member, Zero, who has just this amazing, deep, silky voice, and I would have loved to have heard him there singing with the others and seen their show. They always put on a really good story. If you're not familiar with Steam Powered Giraffe, there are three musicians uh, musicians slash singers who play automatons. They were built in 1876 is when my book is 1896, I think. Um, so they're great. Yeah, check them out. Check that link out. It goes to their website. Buy all their albums. They're wonderful. That was at the Heritage Museum of Orange County, which is pretty close to where I live. My son and I are here in Orange County. So it's over in Santa Ana, and it's beautiful. And yeah, if you can ever attend it, I encourage that. Another festival coming up is the Coldwater Steampunk Festival. This looked amazing to me, and I figured I'd share it for my Canadian fans or readers, whatever. They are in Coldwater, Ontario. This picture here is of a magician and his assistant, and they are going to perform there. They're Professor Wick and Lady Beckencall. That's on August 12th, and apparently the event is free. So if you live in or near Coldwater, Ontario, Canada, that's something you might really want to dress up for and go to. And finally, have any of you ever seen those action figure lamps? You take a regular lamp, a cheap one. I actually have one here that's about $20, and I would like to do it on this one. You get some super glue or another very strong glue. I'd go to like Home Depot and ask what they recommend. And you get old action figures and put them in positions, and glue them to the base, going up, and then you spray paint the base of the lamp single color, and it looks amazing. It looks like this sculpture on your lamp. So I thought that would be something that would be really cool to do in a steampunk style if you could kind of steampunk out the figures in some way before you spray painted them, or actually if you had some kind of steampunk action figures. I thought that, yeah, it would be a neat thing to do. And if any of you end up doing that, please let me know, and share pictures of me here on Twitter or on the website. Okay, I'm again talking about the novel elements. Here we go. So that's the main bit. Um, all right, right there we can see the live stream going. How cool. Oh, it looks like I have a couple of people watching. Thank you. That's amazing. Okay. Um, I am going to go back to this. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little tour of my website. Again, here on the channel, I mentioned a couple times these writer tip videos. So this is something I really want to do to kind of give back to the writing community and kind of share my own knowledge. I've been writing for a long time. I started writing very crappy, but fiction when I was about 10. Of course, when you're 10, you don't understand the world very well. But you want to, and you want to be able to write stories, and it's kind of amazing. Yeah, it's a long story. I didn't start really reading till I was about 9, which may sound a little bit odd, but yeah, everybody's different, and I started, but that's around when I just started reading, and then I picked it up and learned really fast, and got to like within a very short time. I was in I was in 4th grade, and I was like in the 7th grade reading level very quickly. So, and I would at school, I would just read. At recess, I was kind of a loner, but I was okay because I enjoyed reading a lot of books, and eventually I got into fantasy. And that's what I was into mostly for a long time. And I've gotten more into steampunk as I've gotten older. But anyway, it's a bit of a diversion. Yeah, I've done a few writer tip videos, which you can see here. Again, I was having so much trouble having the recordings work very well with the old computer that I just waited to get a new one. I plan to do more. I have lots of ideas for them. Some of the things I think I'll talk about are things from the books by Rain Hall. And that's partly to share a little bit of what I learned, but not too much because you really should buy her books. They're great, and it'll be it's another way of kind of directing you to something that I think is very useful. What else? So yeah, but I have a lot of ideas of my own. So I'm going to cover things from writing things for everyone from beginners to more advanced. Things that I'm just learning, and things that you learn or you need to know from the beginning to learn to be a good writer. Those should be relatively short videos, say 4 to 12 minutes long. I guess it'll depend on what I'm talking about. But that's something else you can look for on this channel. Finally, I think I'll end this soon because I've covered a bunch about the website, a little bit about my plans for this YouTube channel. He's got you got the goggles? Yeah, he's got. Yes, we actually got a really great deal at Costco on not LG. I had LGs for so long on a Samsung Galaxy S7 phone. I know they're on the S8 now, but they had the S7's great. I'm happy with it. So they had a deal on the S7, and with it came a. Actually, this can relate to the channel too. So with it came a camera. See, this is why I'm a writer as much as a speaker. I have to think about my words on this. So they got this. Yes, that's a 360. It's 360-degree camera we got at Costco for free with the phone. This is like a $300 camera, so it's amazing. Yeah, you can make 360-degree videos with it. And so because... So I got the Gear VR, so I paid for that, but that wasn't that expensive. And which is the Gear VR is the goggles. So with the phone and the video camera and the goggles, you can make movies, 360-degree movies, and they play, and you look all the way around, and it's like you're actually there. It's really amazing. You can look up 360-degree videos on YouTube, in fact. If you have any ideas for 360-degree videos that you think you'd like me to make, that sounds a little weird, but if you do, um, say something. I'll think about it. Something I could possibly do. I mean, we live near Disneyland, so once I renew our passports, which I'm going to have to wait a little while on, it's expensive. It's worth it living here, but I have other bills to take care of right now. But that's actually am wondering if there's instructions somewhere on how to do 360-degree videos within 3D software, because that's an idea too, because I am a 3D modeler, so that could be another idea. Of course, my focus is the blog and YouTube somewhat, and mostly my story writing. So anyway, I think that covers things. Again, I talked about Patreon. If you'd like to support what I do, check below for the link. I'm sorry this was a bit of a rambly kind of video. I didn't exactly plan what to talk about. I figured we'd just be kind of casual this time. Oh, what are you showing? The 360 stuff? Oh, you're showing kind of. So yeah, Patreon below, link to my website below, and thanks everybody who showed up to check this out live. I don't know how long it'll take for this to just be a video upload onto YouTube, but that should happen. I'll check on there and see how that goes. And thanks everybody for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Bye. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye.